This is a brief examination of the worst card in the Thoth Tarot. Besides discussing the symbolism that fascinates me the most, I'll share some thoughts that came to mind while studying the card. The reason for reviewing it after the star is that the star is all about Nuit, whereas this is a lot about Babalon, which is the other aspect of Nuit. 11. Not 8. Called Strenght in traditional decks like the Golden Dawn and the Arthur Waite, the worst card was initially numbered 8, but after considering the order of the Zodiac and the number's natural progression, Crowley placed the card at 11, changing its name to worst. Quote, "But there's still one peculiarity, one disturbance of the natural sequence. This is that the cards 8 and 11 have to be counterchanged in order to preserve the natural attribution. For the card 11 is called Strength, on it appears a 1 and quite evidently refers to the zodiacal sign of Leo, whereas the card 8 is called Justice and represents the conventional symbolic figure thrown to its sword and balances, thus obviously referring to the zodiacal sign of Libra, the balance." Unquote. Stacking with other adjustments Crowley made due to a revelation he got while the Book of the Wall was dictated, that creates two orbs, mirroring each other on the sides of the zodiac. One is made of Aries and Aquarius on each side of Pisces, and the other of Leo and Libra, positioned similarly regarding Virgo. You can learn more about that by checking my long-term review of the Thoth deck, or better yet, by exploring Crowley's accompanying manual. Placed 11, the worst card also becomes the door to the second half of the major arcana, and behind that door is one's journey to the innermost aspects of their being. More than strength. The worst card stands for much more than physical and mental or spiritual strength or power, as sometimes explained by scholars and books on magic and tarot. Looking at the tree diagram, we see that this isn't the path of strength, it is the path of death, representing the influence of Hesed, mercy, upon Gibura or severity, and according to Crowley's The Book of Thoth, quote, "Worst implies not only strength, but the joy of strength exercised. It is vigor and the rapture of vigor." Unquote. The modern scholar Eli Serpent calls this the will to be, defining the stage at which the soul is fully established in the physical body, and this partially reminds me of some other scholars defining Kepher or coming into being. Meaning 9, Tet is spelled Tet Yod Tav and enumerates 419, which means serpent. According to one Maiwood Cat, quote, "Like a snake swallowing its tail, there is truly no end to the mastery of the serpent. The one that tempted Eve is the same one that Moses elevated on a pole, the same one that Jesus told us to be as wise as." Unquote. The Book of Thoth's mnemonic section explains that with the following, quote, "The one serpent begets the gods, thy throne, the rampant beast, our Lady Babalon." Unquote. The 19th path. Within the Golden Dawn system, all major arcana have esoteric names, which according to David Cherubim helps understand the nature of the card better, and in that manner, the worst card or Atu 11 is called the Daughter of the Flaming Sword. Balanced vertically and horizontally, the path of that is called the intelligence of the secret of all activities of the spiritual beings. According to the 32 paths of wisdom, this is because of the affluence diffused by it from the most high and exalted sublime glory. By linking Hesed and Gebura, the 19th path is the first part of the microprosopus or the lesser countenance of the microcosmic universe. The 19th path symbolizes the overflowing energy from Hesed to Gebura in the creation process depicted by the flaming sword. It also leads to the edge of the abyss, being right underneath the supernal triad. The sign of Leo. Ruled by the sun, the worst card is assigned to the sign of Leo, also to the Cherub of Fire, and the Book of Thoth considers it the most powerful of the 12 zodiac cards. The reason Crowley explains is that it symbolizes the most crucial magical and alchemical operations. The union of the Tet letter with the Leo sign results in the creature depicted on the card, and essentially that's either a one with a serpent for a tail or a lion-headed snake as portrayed in other decks. The worst card depicts the original marriage or union the way it occurs in nature. It is a moment or stage of an ultimate high, or as Crowley defines it, quote, "There is in this card a divine drunkenness or ecstasy. The woman is shown as more than a little drunk and more than a little mad, and the one also is aflame with lust." When explaining the card at an exhibition, Lady Frida Harris said the following to a child, quote, "Well, you must understand the feeling of it. Now, how do you feel if you see nice chocolates and there you get them and how good they taste? That is a picture of how you feel about those chocolates." Unquote. In my humble opinion, this is different from merely having the ultimate satisfaction, and instead it sounds like achieving that while maintaining the desire for it. Kinda like having both at the same time, and you can feel free to let me know if you agree or not. The Reigns. Like the standard Strenght, the worst card represents the female power of directing and channeling the brute animal force toward constructive aims. It is worst for creation. While riding the beast, Babalon holds the reins in her left hand, and this represents the passion that unites them. Much more dynamic, this concept takes the traditional Strenght card to a new level. Rather than merely and somewhat passively taming the one, the Scarlet Woman is enticed in sensory desires to ride the beast, symbolizing primordial creative energy, following no reason or criticism, and supposedly he is the natural, whereas she is the fertile force. The Cup. In her right hand, Babalon holds the Holy Grail filled with the blood of the saints whose faces serve as the image's background, and as written in the Book of Thoth, this card portrays the will of the Aeon. In the background are the bloodless images of the saints on whom this image travels, for their whole life has been absorbed into the Grail, unquote. Now, to give some background, the Aeon of Isis was linked to the signs of Pisces and Virgo, whereas that of Osiris was to Aries and Libra. The current Aeon, that of Horus, is connected to Aquarius and Leo. Floating somewhat haphazardly, there are 10 circles in chaotic order positioned higher than the saints. Vaguer than the other imagery, these are the 10 Sephiroth in latent form, and in my humble opinion this is a crucial detail as it reveals that every new Aeon requires a restart or a new classification and ordering of the universe. 10 rays and 10 serpents. There are 10 white rays at the top, symbolizing the light of the new Aeon. Also 10 hordes of the beast, which are really serpents, though to me they also resemble tentacles and roots. Whether that resonates with you, these serpents serve the purpose of destroying and recreating the world, so the mentioned reordering can take place. Somewhat challenging to recognize, the 7 heads of the hybrid creature represent the 7 aspects of Crowley, identifying himself as the beast. Quote, 7 are the heads of the beast whereon she rideth, the head of an angel, the head of a saint, the head of a poet, the head of an adulterous woman, the head of a man of valor, the head of a satyr, and the head of a lion serpent. 7 letters had her holiest name, and it's Babalon. Unquote. Taming the Beast. Like in other decks, the beast remains the symbol of animal instincts. When your inner beast is truly tamed, it collaborates for the greater good, and that results in an influx of creativity, passion for living, and the ability to pursue your life's work, following the path of continuous self-improvement. On the contrary, when that whole dynamic is misunderstood and people try to suppress their basic urges, they get a host of issues, including depressive and anxiety disorders, uncontrolled aggression, and plenty of suffering. Comment. Now, let us consider gurus and influencers advocating using willpower, which thanks to modern science we know is a limited resource and plain ineffective for suppressing your animal instincts. I wonder in which aeon those guys are living. Also, what are your experiences following such advice? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about getting your basic urges under control, such as the intricacies of willpower from a science-based perspective, I suggest both of my books. Meanings. The meanings of the worst card include courage, strength, energy, action, enormous passion, resort to magic, and the use of magical power. Unifying the Self. Speaking of that, the worst card actively reminds us we shouldn't be ashamed of those basic drives but appreciate and incorporate them. As all magical systems agree, becoming whole and reaching higher levels of being cannot be accomplished by denying, but by gently and gradually unifying the parts of ourselves. Apparently that is why not suppressing, but getting those primordial urges under control is a crucial step on the path. And though not magical per se, Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil may be worth reading by modern seekers as it elaborates on what happens when you either achieve or do not achieve that, but that's just my opinion. Feel free to let me know if it resonates with you. Otherwise, like this video if it provides value, subscribe for more content like this, check my other works and books, especially the PDFs I made on the fields of operation and SRP, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for your time.